These flames are stoked by the far right wing agenda. The alt-right MAGA influencers, politicians, corporatists, billionaires, they all are working together with foreign adversaries to take over our corporate news media, to whitewash and sanewash complete heinous, fascist, authoritarian acts. If there's anybody left in the corporate news media that has any sort of fortitude and conviction and wants to stand up for democracy, I want to give you a quick case study on the New Orleans truck incident where 10 people were killed, cops were shot, a bunch of people wounded on New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street. Corporate news media really wanted that shooter, domestic terrorist in New Orleans, to be an undocumented immigrant. Like, they were just salivating at the opportunity. Turns out it was a Texas-born, Texas-raised Army veteran. Does corporate news media not know about false flag operations? Like, it's getting pretty upsetting to watch them flounder around. I mean, Putin blew up buildings to gain power in Russia. He gives his blueprint on how he got power and keeps power to Trump and MAGA. And my guess is they probably have ties to people all over the world who are involved in organized crime. So they know how to control the optic of things, and they know most people aren't going to really be able to look into it. So if that tells you anything, even if the person wasn't a white Christian nationalist that did this, it was orchestrated by white Christian nationalists to create a certain effect. And if y'all can't see through that, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's billionaires that are fucking insane that are trying to control everything that you see through the corporate news media, movies. They want to control what books you read. Like, they've studied this for so long. I don't know why it's like shocking and it's hard to unearth this. Like, it's right-wing Christian nationalists. Whether the guy was an undocumented immigrant or not, those are the people that orchestrated it behind the scenes. If I was a white Christian nationalist billionaire who's trying to take over the country and I had unlimited resources and I had no moral compass, I would probably work with organized crime bosses all over the world to manipulate and control the narrative. To manipulate you and to control the narrative and the optics. If it was an undocumented immigrant who committed that crime in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, that atrocious crime, my guess is that he was paid or blackmailed. Not so much paid, but I'm sure he was threatened, blackmailed, probably had his family of some sort, controlled his mind in some way, and forced him to do that horrific act. Just like the other false flag operations that you see, whether it be in Russia or they're attempted here, it's always the same bullshit. They want to control the optic. Corporate news media immediately started talking about how it was a terrorist attack. And the police, local police, even referenced that. FBI swoops in, says, not terrorist attack. Now it seems like they're backing that up. It's obviously a terrorist attack from white Christian nationalists. I don't even have to know the identity of that person. We saw the truck, we saw the plates, we saw the black flag. We also know that what the rhetoric is from the far right. We know who's responsible for that. So I don't need to have it spelled out for me, but apparently the electorate needs it spelled out. One of my customers who said Happy New Year this morning, I asked, how could you say that? It is not happy when I wake up at 6 a.m. to those types of events, you know, and that type of atrocity. And we know who's pushing it. We know MAGA pushes this. We know Putin pushes this. We know our foreign adversaries want chaos, death, destruction. And we know MAGA, the top echelon of MAGA, not the lower tier, lower income MAGA, but the upper tier, upper echelon MAGA, they thrive off the chaos too. They want that. They want people living in fear. They want people fighting. They don't want anybody having any sort of unity. My customer, who's obviously MAGA, just is really confused by where to get information. But I'm watching pretty closely as corporate news media and independent media outlets are trying to cover it. And there's no known identity, yet they haven't released it yet. My guess is because they want, you know, the show to go on for New Year's in New Orleans. They don't want to make a big scene of it, even though it's a huge scene and everything should be stopped. The corporatists, they want to keep on selling their overpriced merchandise and, you know, whatever at sports venues. So, you know, the show goes on. They don't release the identity. My customer texts me saying it's an illegal. The truck crossed the border 2 days ago. And so, like, corporate news media hasn't released identity. For somebody who's following along, and I feel like pretty in tune with everything, I know it's a white Christian nationalist. Like, come on, this is fucking child's play here. And but my customer, who's been lost in the sauce and, you know, overtaken by the mis and disinformation from like Facebook and shit, which I assume he probably got the information from Facebook, but these trolls start these half-truths on like 4chan and 8chan, and then they gain popularity and they come and matriculate through big social media platforms like Facebook. And what he said is that it was an illegal, and the truck crossed the border 2 days ago. So, like, before even the corporate news media even talked about the identity, he's already hearing that. And I'm like, where did you hear that? He's like, I don't know, just what I heard. So if you guys can't put if you educated journalists can't connect the dots on what they're doing to brainwash like normal people that don't pay attention much at all to anything, and they don't know how to find primary sources, and they don't know the history of things in general, whether that be United States history or, you know, world history, and they don't stay in tune with geopolitics, that's where you should start. Expose the troll industrial complex. Expose the people who are paid to cause chaos on top of chaos. So yes, it was MAGA. If it wasn't, I'll delete this. But we all know this guy was MAGA. I mean, that's the type of people that do this sort of thing. This isn't the first time. It won't be the last.